For centuries, accounting has been all about rules, precision, and of course, human judgment. But now, a new force, generative AI, is stepping onto the scene, and it's ready to rewrite the entire playbook. We're going to dig into how this tech isn't just changing a few tasks, it's actually changing the very definition of what it means to be an accountant.
Okay, let's just get right to it. The big question that's on everybody's mind. And while, yeah, there's some fear out there, the reality is actually way more interesting. This isn't really a story about humans being replaced. It's a story about a massive evolution of the job itself.
And it looks like accountants are actually ready for this shift. A recent survey from chartered accountants worldwide found that a whopping 85% are willing and ready to use AI. So this desire for change isn't just some outside pressure. It's already here, inside the profession.
So how does this new partnership actually work in the real world? Well, the best way to think about Gen AI is as this incredibly powerful new assistant. But here's the catch. To really unlock what it can do, you can't just talk at it. You have to learn how to talk to it with real precision.
And that new skill has a name. It's called prompt engineering. You know, it's kind of like the difference between walking into a library and yelling, "I need a book," versus telling the librarian the exact title, author, and edition you need. One gets you a random, maybe useless result. The other gets you exactly what you came for.
And just look at the night and day difference this makes. A simple question, what is the quick ratio, gets you a dry dictionary definition. Fine. But the engineered prompt that creates an interactive tutor, you give the AI a role, a goal, and suddenly it's not just a search engine, it's a collaborator that can teach you and even quiz you to make sure you get it. The quality of that interaction is just worlds apart.
And here you can see the incredible boost of productivity. An educator can go from just an idea to a fully customized quiz in like seconds. You assign a role, you define the task, you add some constraints, and you tell it what you want. A job that could have easily taken an hour of manual work is now done in the time it takes to write a short paragraph. It's a game changer.
But, and this is a huge but, for all of this incredible power, we have to be brutally honest about what this technology is and what it isn't. Gen AI is an amazing tool, but it is not an all-knowing oracle. And it comes with some very, very real risks. This quote from a marker in an academic study just nails a core fear. Could this technology devalue the hard work that actually builds real expertise? As they put it, there's simply no substitute for good old-fashioned hard work.
And that's not just one person's opinion. Lecturers are echoing that exact same thought. The consensus is pretty clear. AI is a supplement. It's here to boost our skills, not to replace our own critical thinking. The responsibility for putting in the effort and truly understanding something, that still falls on us.
So what are these big dangers we need to have on our radar? Well, they fall into a few key buckets. First, there's just plain inaccuracy, where these models can hallucinate and literally make stuff up. Then there's hidden bias, where the AI just spits back the skewed data it was trained on. And for accountants, this next one is huge: data privacy. Inputting confidential info into a public AI tool can create massive problems. Not to mention the rise of deepfakes, fraud, and even copyright issues. It's a lot to watch out for.
All right, so we have the tech, and we know the risks. But the biggest challenge of all might not even be the AI itself. It might actually be the very real gap in skills, confidence, and trust among the people who are supposed to be using it.
And you can see that trust gap clear as day in education. A Wiley survey found that only 36% of educators, that's fewer than 4 in 10, actually believe students will use AI for genuine learning, instead of just, cheating. That is a profound lack of faith in how this tool is going to be used.
And this confidence gap goes all the way to the top. Get this, less than half of senior leaders feel comfortable using AI. And more than half of C-suite execs straight up admit they are not prepared for its impact. Now think about that. If the leaders aren't ready, how can they possibly guide their teams through this massive change?
And this is exactly why the most important skill in the age of AI isn't technical at all. It's deeply, fundamentally human. The future belongs to the people who master critical thinking. The ability to look at what an AI gives you, apply professional skepticism, and then use your own judgment to give trusted advice. The machine can give you the data, sure, but the human provides the wisdom.
So, in the face of all these challenges, the profession isn't just sitting on its hands. No sirree.
Accounting bodies all over the world are stepping up and building the ethical frameworks we need to navigate this really complex new landscape.
Leading organizations like the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants are getting out in front of this. They're creating formal guardrails to make sure AI is used responsibly, protecting not just the public, but the integrity of the whole profession.
And here's how they're doing it, which is actually pretty brilliant. They are mapping the timeless, core ethical principles of accounting directly onto the new threats that come from Gen AI. So, the principle of integrity? That's now threatened by AI making things up. Objectivity? That's at risk from hidden biases in the AI's output. And confidentiality? That can be blown in an instant just by pasting sensitive data into a public tool. This gives every professional a clear, practical guide for what to do.
So we've looked at the power, we've looked at the risks, and we've seen how the profession is responding. And all of that brings us to the final and maybe most important point. The path forward isn't about waiting around for some new tech or a new rule book. It's about the active role that each and every one of us has to play, starting right now.
Look, the debate about if AI is going to transform accounting is over. It's happening. The only question left that really matters is this: how will you guide that change? Are you going to be the one who learns how to use it responsibly? The one who applies that critical human judgment to avoid the risks? Are you going to help define what it means to be a trusted accountant in this new era? The change is here. The choice is yours.